Hi, glad you're with us. It is finally Friday. We made it through another week. Glad you're here. Now, we are still talking about Acts chapter 14, 1 through 3. Now, what more could we get out of this passage? Listen, this is the thing about Scripture. You study it long enough, and it will just fall out with meanings and different insights about how you live your life and what's important. Here's a thought. If you were going to put the first missionary team together, who would you put on your team? If you were going to start an entirely new work, an entirely new part of the world, who would you put on your team? What kind of characteristics would you look for? One, you would want somebody of great faith, right? You would want somebody who could look at a situation and see how God was working, even if it wasn't apparent to anybody else. You'd want a guy who was always believing, always seeing that God was up to something. You know people like that. You would want somebody like that on your team. That's Barnabas. Who else would you want on your team? Well, you would want somebody who was really, really smart, right? Who could answer any question that was asked or respond to any challenge that was brought. Well, that was Paul. You see, what most of us do when we put a team together is we want everybody on the team like us. We attract the same kinds of people. Birds of a feather flock together. And so if we are outward extroverts, then we want people on the team who are outward extroverts. If we enjoy eating Mexican food, then we want everybody on the team to enjoy Mexican food. And the problem with that is you get a lot of the same thing. And you can have too much of a good thing even if it's cake. Notice the wisdom of the Spirit. Barnabas and Paul could not have been more different. How do we know that? Well, they got into a fight. The cool thing about Scripture is it doesn't hide anything from us. We know everybody's successes. We know everybody's failure. John Mark failed on the first missionary trip. He got scared. He got homesick, whatever. He left. And for Paul, that was cowardice under fire. In the middle of the mission trip, John Mark goes home. And so that next time that Barnabas and Paul want to go back and visit the churches and encourage them, Barnabas wants to take John Mark. Paul won't. Now, for Paul, here was the way it was written. Here are the rules. That's Paul. For Barnabas, we got John Mark on the line. This young man has a big future, and we're not going to let one mistake, one failure define his life. So Barnabas fights for John Mark, even to the point of going toe-to-toe with Paul. Even, I don't know if Paul gave Barnabas an ultimatum. It's either you choose to go with me or you choose to stay with John Mark. I don't know if Barnabas gave Paul an ultimatum. We either take John Mark or I don't go. Whatever happened, Paul picks Silas, and Barnabas takes John Mark. And from that moment on, we don't hear another word about Barnabas. We hear Paul and Silas. There's Paul and Silas in the Philippian jail. There's Paul and Silas on the missionary journey. There's Paul and Silas, Paul and Silas. Barnabas missed all of those incredible moments because he chose to protect John Mark. Now, what happens if Barnabas doesn't protect John Mark? We don't have the Gospel of Mark. And if we don't have the Gospel of Mark, then there are major parts of Matthew and Luke we don't have because they use Mark as an outline. Two very, very different people, and these are the two that Jesus chose to start his ministry to the Roman world, to the Gentiles. Now, whatever your mission is, it's bigger than you. You're going to need some help. You're going to need a team. Who is it that the Lord is leading you to bring on your team? Now, let me give you a hint. When he answers your prayer, you're going to be surprised is a good word, because it's going to be people you would not have picked in a million years. They're not like you. They do things differently. They see things differently. Exactly. That's why they're on the team. It is in the diversity of God's creation that we see the wonder of God. It's because he has all kinds of people who are available for all kinds of missions that he can put a team together that gets it done. That's what's happened here at Brentwood Baptist Church. You put all of our staff in a room, it is a ragged group. But all of us have one gift, two gifts, a different insight that makes it all run for the best. So who is it that Jesus is putting around you to be on your team? Don't discount them because they're different. They may be the very ones that Jesus has picked. I'll give you 60 seconds to figure it out, and I'll see you Monday.